What's up, guys? It is Sam here, and I wanted to give a quick recap of my website analysis for the Democratic candidates that are running for the nomination. And this is episode number 3. In episode 1, we covered Google search volume for the Democratic candidates to see who had the highest amount of search volume on Google. Then we took episode number 2, and we looked at the YouTube search volume for each one of these candidates. And today, we're looking at their website. We're going to look at the page views, the amount of time on their website, and the U.S. popularity of this website. So, if this is your first time here, what's up? I'm Sam. And if you're returning, it's good to freaking see you. If you want to see the full analysis, the video is going to be coming out about 2 hours after this one. It is 35 minutes long, but it covers deep dive into the analysis on what exactly I'm looking at, what websites I'm using, how I do my analysis. So if you want to see the full deep dive in the 35 minutes of it took me about 4 hours worth of research, but if you want to actually see what I'm doing in 35 minutes, jump over there. Same style as this one. With that being said, let's jump into it. So we've got page views. And what are page views? Page views are when somebody goes to a website and they click on something, that counts as a page view. So if you click on multiple things, that counts as multiple page views. And the more page views you have, the more engaging your site is, our intuition would say. My intuition says. So if you have a very engaging website, or like it's optimized, you're going to have a higher page view count. So if we look over here, we have Elizabeth Warren in this category is ranked number 1. And Andrew Yang is number 2. Kamala Harris is number 3. This is based on their website, and then we're going to move over to the time next. Number 10 is Cory Booker. Number 9 is Julian Castro. Next, let's jump over to the time. Why is the time important? Because with the time, if you can capture 10 minutes of somebody's time on a website versus 3 minutes, I mean, that's just common sense. One of the things that is reported for some of these social media companies is how much time people spend on their web apps or websites on average per visit. Like, that's how important it is, because the financial media actually follows this stuff. Not necessarily for these candidates, but for like Snapchat and Instagram and WhatsApp and Facebook and YouTube. So the amount of time on the website per visit is 3 minutes and 13 seconds for Andrew Yang. And he is ahead of everybody else. Nobody else is even at the 3-minute mark. If you look down here where Elizabeth Warren had the most number of page views, so generally speaking, you would think if they have a lot more page views, their time on the site is probably going to be higher, because if you look at 10 pages, it's going to take more time to click through those fucking 10 pages than if you look at 1. However, even though Andrew Yang has a little bit less in terms of the page views here, Elizabeth Warren has less time. So Andrew Yang is capturing more of people's time, which is super valuable. To round out the top 3 is Joe Biden, and his is ranked number 3 in terms of the amount of time that he captures. But it's only slightly better than Kamala Harris. And if you watch the full analysis, you probably understand why. If Kamala Harris is driving traffic through the ads that she's running on her, when you Google her name, the search traffic she's driving over there might, depending on how the ad's running, might not be super great, which would drive down the page views and drive down the amount of time. If you, if I was like, hey, why don't you come to the gym, and you hated working out, the amount of time and the exercises you do at the gym are probably going to be less versus people who want to go to the gym and want to work out. So the people who are going to Joe Biden's site, we did not see any ads. He could still be running them, but he just could be running them for other keywords. And his are 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Hers are at 2 minutes and 8 seconds. That could be the difference, is just the ad driving traffic there that is not quite as relevant as people searching for Joe Biden's website. And I talk a little bit more about that strategy in the full analysis video that is coming up in 2 hours. So press that bell notification so you can get notified of that. Lastly is the U.S. popularity. So this is according to Alexa.com. Alexa.com is a website that ranks other websites and gives certain interesting statistics. That's where all this data is pulled from. It took me a while to put this together, and this is there's a global ranking and then there's US. We want to take the most relevant data to get an understanding of the candidates going into the second debate here, because I say relevant because what we hear is from the media. What we hear is from Fox. What we hear is from CNN. What we hear is from Washington Post. What we hear is from ABC, CBS, and NBC. And that's not super relevant, in my opinion, when you look at the actual data. Like, we have the actual data, and then we have it that we can see through a lens, right? Some of them have like this red lens or blue lens or green lens, and everything that comes out of these media companies is seen through this lens. So there's a clear bias in the the information. So if you check out the channel, I also have a video coming up after this one about that. So if you want to check out the deep dive into that, I think that's coming out on Tuesday, where we talk about CNN and their bias. Now, jumping back over here, we have Andrew Yang. His is ranked 21st, 2,115th, and you can see all the other players here and what their ranking is. His was number 1. And we look at it right here, number 1. Number 2 is Bernie Sanders. So Bernie Sanders did not win either one of the other categories. He was 4th, and then he was 7th in terms of the amount of time. But his is very popular. Well, not as popular as Andrew Yang's, but his is still very popular. Next is Elizabeth Warren. So she was 1st, then she was 2nd, now she's 3rd. But it's not 100% just a weighted average. So if we come over here to our website ranking, and this is the factor number 3 in our power rankings, we take a weighted average of these 3 factors. And it's not an equally weighted average where you just add them up and then divide by 3 in terms of this ranking. What that would mean, it would be we take 4 plus 5 plus 4 and then divide by 3. That's not what we're doing. If we come over here and we take a close look at this formula, what we're doing right here is we're saying B2, which is this, times 0.2. So we're giving it a 20% relevance, right? Because I don't think the amount of time on a site and the amount of page views is necessarily as important as the popularity of the site. And they're all very closely related, of course, but they're a little bit different. So let's just get rid of that over here. So that's what we did, and we gave the U.S. popularity 60% of the weighting, because I think that represents, like if we look over here, right, at Bernie Sanders, and we gave it an equal weighting for Bernie Sanders, he's number 4th here, he's number 7th here, and he's number 2. So this would not give enough relevance to realize that his site is actually super, super popular. 4,700th. Like, his is super popular. Most of these other people are they're in 5 digits, right? 12,000 for Pete. Kamala Harris is 17,000. Joe Biden, 16,000. Elizabeth Warren is the only one who's close to him, and everybody else is significantly higher. And to try to combat that, that's why we do the weighted average of 20% for page views, 20% for time, and 60% from the popularity. And when we do that, we have Andrew Yang ranking number 1, followed up by Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. That rounds out the top 3 for the website ranking. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a quick recap, so if you want to catch the full analysis of this, make sure you press that subscribe button and the bell notification, because that is coming out as well. And that's 35 minutes long, so I get into a lot more of those details. I'm going to be going into the rest of these power rankings here, and we have coming up tomorrow Facebook, then Twitter, and then YouTube. And on all those platforms, we're going to be looking at the growth rate of these characters, of their channel on YouTube, or their following on Twitter, or maybe the number of followers on Facebook. And we're going to look at the growth rate of this. We're looking at the growth rate to combat the absolute number, because if you look at the percentage versus the absolute number, somebody has 30 million followers and they gain 1 million followers, that the percentage growth rate is good. But if you have somebody who has 2 million followers and they grow by 1 million, the growth rate on that is substantially higher than somebody who has 30 million. You get the point. That's why we use the growth rate. And then within each platform, there's a little bit more nuance around some of the things that we're going to look at. So if you want to follow along with that, before we jump into the donations portion and where the money is coming from, all of these rankings that we've been talking about are going to come up to equal our power ranking. And that is what we're going to compare to what the media says is going on. What the Real Clear Politics has is their graph of who's winning. We can compare this to them. We can make a difference. I just need your help. Press that thumbs up button. YouTube will show this video to more people. Share this with somebody. Tell other people about it. Make your own videos about it, or whatever the case is. I appreciate you guys. And what do you think of this new software, OBS? And I just got this webcam, so let me know how the audio quality is. Peace.